You finally get what you want, and then you completely ruin it. You inexplicably stop putting in the effort that got you there in the first place. You know the drill. You miss a deadline you could have easily met in your sleep. You stop replying to texts. You suddenly become distant with the person who has been treating you better than anyone else ever has. You start picking fights over things that literally never bothered you before. Tiny problems suddenly feel absolutely enormous, and small disagreements become undeniable proof that something is horribly wrong. And before long, that good thing you wanted so badly just starts slipping away. Not because someone took it from you, but because, well, you became the reason it fell apart.
Now, society loves to hand us a few standard explanations for this. We're told it's just a fear of success, or maybe we just have low self-esteem, or my personal favorite, that deep down we don't believe we deserve happiness. I mean, those sound pretty convincing, right? But here's the catch. They don't actually explain the mechanics of what's going on in your head. Think about it. If human beings truly wanted misery, we wouldn't spend our entire lives desperately trying to avoid it. So that means there is something much deeper happening here, something far older than conscious thought.
You see, long before humans were building cities or coming up with modern psychology, our survival depended on one very specific ability: knowing what happens next. If early humans could predict exactly where predators were hiding, they survived. Simple as that. And guess what? That exact same prediction machinery is still running in your head right now. During childhood, you use that machinery to form core assumptions about your environment just to stay safe. And today, as an adult, you are still reacting to modern situations using those exact same old predictions. Your brain is just constantly generating expectations about the future completely outside of your awareness. Which brings us to one of the most mind-bending facts about human psychology. Your brain does not actually prefer positive predictions. No. It prefers accurate predictions, and it prefers them even when those accurate predictions are incredibly painful. To put it simply, your brain wants to be right way more than it wants to be happy. Crazy, right? Let's imagine a stark contrast between two different people entering a new relationship. The first person comes from a really stable environment. Growing up, love was consistent. Care was totally predictable. Their brain learned that closeness equals safety. So for them, a healthy relationship feels perfectly normal. It's expected. But our second person, they come from an unstable environment. Love was conditional, and chaos was basically the daily routine. Their predictive map learned a totally different lesson. It learned things like good things don't last, people leave, and safety is only temporary. So, when this second person enters a healthy, loving relationship, they don't experience it as normal at all. Their brain experiences it as highly, highly suspicious.
This intense mismatch creates severe internal tension. Psychologists actually call this cognitive dissonance. It is that deep, agonizing mental discomfort you get when you hold two competing realities in your head at the exact same time. One reality is right there in front of you, saying, hey, this person is treating me wonderfully. But the other reality, your deeply ingrained predictive map, is screaming, watch out, people eventually hurt me. Look, these two beliefs simply cannot comfortably exist together forever. Eventually, something has got to give.
Now, logic would say the brain should gladly just accept the new, happy reality, right? But surprisingly, the brain almost always chooses to preserve the old, painful prediction. Why on earth would it do that? Because updating a deeply held prediction is incredibly expensive and utterly terrifying. It requires extreme vulnerability. It means stepping into the complete unknown and admitting that the survival map you've trusted since you were a kid might actually be wrong. And to your nervous system, stepping off that map feels exactly like stepping off a cliff.
You've probably heard of confirmation bias before. It's that process where our attention naturally gravitates toward information that supports what we already believe. Like, if you expect people to be mean, you're going to notice every little slight against you. But self-sabotage takes this natural biological process one massive step further. The brain doesn't just sit around looking for evidence to support its old map. Oh no, it takes action. It actively manufactures the evidence.
Let's walk through exactly how this looks in real life. Step 1, you land that dream job and you're absolutely thrilled. But then comes step 2, the panic. Your brain starts whispering, what if I can't maintain this? What if I fail? The uncertainty of success is actually agonizing because your brain literally cannot predict what happens next. So instead of confronting that fear, we hit step 3, where your brain takes action. You start missing deadlines, you stop preparing, you literally force the failure. Because by ruining the job, failure becomes predictable again. Predictability is restored. The world makes sense again. Sure, it is painful, but it is deeply, securely familiar.
I really want you to consider this profound paradox of trauma and self-sabotage. The body often prefers familiar pain over unfamiliar peace. This hits the nail on the head. This is exactly why we do it. It is not because pain feels good.
It's because familiarity feels like safety to a traumatized nervous system. That system knows the rules of chaos. It knows exactly how to navigate disappointment. But peace is dangerous, completely unmapped territory.
And this explains why, in the very moment you're doing it, self-sabotage rarely feels self-destructive. It actually feels protective. The argument feels absolutely necessary, the pulling away feels entirely justified. Think of it like a smoke alarm that once saved your house from a roaring fire. Fast forward a few years, the fire is completely gone, but that same alarm still blares every single time someone burns a piece of toast. The system isn't broken, it is just overly sensitive. Self-sabotage isn't you hating yourself, it's your overactive protection system reacting to a fire that was put out years ago.
What we have to accept here is that logic alone rarely changes this. You can read every psychology book in the world, you can watch every explainer out there, you can understand every theory perfectly, and guess what? You will still feel the exact same instincts. Why? Because those childhood survival patterns, they were never built through logic in the first place.
They were built through repetition, and that means they can only be changed through repetition. You experience stability, and you just let it remain. Then you experience it again, and again. The only way to update your brain's predictive model is through relentlessly slow repetition. Every single time a healthy relationship survives a disagreement, the model updates just a little bit. Every time someone stays when you totally expected them to leave, the map updates. It is a process of slow, deep learning where you prove to your brain that the disaster you expect just isn't coming. If you take nothing else away from this explainer today, please let it be this. You are not broken. You survived. Your self-sabotage is not evidence of self-hatred. It is simply evidence of lessons your brain once desperately needed to learn so you could survive environments that no longer exist. It is just an old model desperately trying its best to protect you.
So I want to leave you with this really powerful, transformative question. The next time you feel that sudden, undeniable urge to pull away from someone who cares about you, or you want to just quit when progress finally appears, pause. Don't ask, what is wrong with me? Instead, ask yourself, what prediction is my brain trying to protect right now? Allow yourself to just sit in that uncomfortable peace. Teach your brain that stability can actually exist, and little by little, you will allow reality to draw you a better, beautiful